Welcome back, everybody, to the ConExpo ConEgg podcast, brought to you by our good friends over at Komatsu, which I can't wait to see their display at this year's show, which, by the way, is super close. I can't believe that it is almost here. Here with me today, I have a former host of the ConExpo ConEgg podcast, so I'm looking forward to this, and the owner of Big Machine Hustle and Scherber Roll-Offs, along with her husband. And today we have Missy Scherber with us. Missy, thanks for being here.
Yeah, of course. It's so exciting. One, to see where you've taken this podcast. It's just gotten better and better. And two, to be on the other side of the mic. I don't know if I should be nervous, scared, excited. So take it away.
Definitely none of those things. I'd be more excited. I'm actually excited just to chat with you because before we kind of got on here, I've never had the opportunity to sit down 1v1 with you, and kind of just chat. And I just from what I've seen on social media, I've known about you for like 3 years. And I've always just wanted to just ask you, and lay a foundation down, I guess, for the audience. If you had to describe like who you are and what you do, let's hear it.
So my name is Missy Scherber, and alongside my husband, Trevor, run T. Scherber Demolition Excavating and Roll-Offs. We're a specialty excavation earth moving contractor. We do brick and mortar demolition. We also have what I call the little company that could, which is a dumpster company. That's actually how Trevor got started. Before he met me, he was a dumpster man, a trash man, and took a roll-off company that was very much in the negative and not doing well and brought it up to the positive. Um, him and I met in 2013, and I quit my dream job to start hustling dumpsters and help him start a earth moving and demolition company. So I went from selling programs at a nonprofit that I was really passionate about downtown, wore high heels every day and presented in front of CEOs and corporations, and fell in love with the man in a 1999 Peterbilt and started talking trash every day and learning the dirt world, and coming up on my ninth year here. And I have to say, it's been the absolute most amazing transition, career change for me. A lot of years of learning. I, like many other of my peers, went to the school of hard knocks, but here we are 8 years later. We had our biggest year of growth last year. We tripled the size. That has really, really transitioned my role and into talent acquisition and team management. Another layer of school of hard knocks, which I hear never ends in the construction industry. So yeah, that's who I am, what we do. And yeah, I'm excited to see where you navigate the conversation. There's so many different things to talk about in this industry, right? There's buzzwords, there's workforce development, there's technology, but I want to know what Taylor wants to know and what you feel like the community would love to connect with me on today.
I'm just interested in like understanding yourself and you, to be honest with you as well too. I mean, this is the Missy Scherber episode, and I want to get your points of all the issues that and stuff that you just talked about. But it's just pretty incredible coming from what you were doing at the nonprofit, which I had no idea about, to then coming into construction. Like, this industry is just insane. I mean, and there's other industries that are insane too, but I mean, there's just so many dynamics to this industry. Like, how have you, how did you get your feet wet into this? Like what would you say was the one thing, if there's probably not one thing, that was like, okay, this is how I'm going to go about like getting into this and doing this. What have you learned?
So that's a great, great question, because it takes me back to the first year of total paralysis. Like, what am I doing here? Um, Trevor teases me, you were blinded by the light, because I was in love. And so what do I know? I'm coming in, help with this business. The first day I walked into Trevor's office, um, I saw a stack of bills from floor to ceiling, papers everywhere, highlighter. I'm just like, what is this? Um, but I would say what I did to transition, after I got through that stage of paralysis, I really had to be like, okay, you're in this. What's next? How are you going to learn a whole new industry? And so for me, it was getting to know the guys in the field and making our vendors and our subcontractors, the guys at Napa who sold us our parts, the fuel trucks who sold us our fuel, our operating team, like make them my best friend and my advocate and get to know them and what they need. And if I can just hang at their level, then I can build something that truly supports their future, that builds a dumpster and dirt company that is different. From the beginning, I wanted to do it differently and bring my background of making a difference in the community, customer service, and in the corporate world. I just wanted to humanize the process. And to start, I had to connect with the humans involved in every aspect and at every layer of the industry. And through that, I just fell in love with them. I'm like, you guys are heroes, man. Like, you're just these unseen, unsung heroes. I grew up never knowing I should thank an excavator for running water, a working toilet, roads to get around, infrastructure, like all these things. And I'm like, how does the whole world not know about these heroes wearing hard hats instead of capes? And so I think through that just genuine curiosity and love for the people and taking the time to just get to know everyone at the ground level, that's how I was able to adjust. And really, they were the same people I had been working with downtown in corporate. They just were a little dirtier and sweatier and grittier, but had the same human heart and vision to provide a great life for their family and build a better world. So that's kind of how I transition is just the people, the process of people and humanizing the process. And that inspired me to build our company in a truly unique way that connects and cares about the people.
Yeah, you nailed it. I mean, that's yeah, very incredible. And it's also great that you realize that you need that connection with the ground people rather than like, okay, Trevor had the, and then all of a sudden you come in and then you're just, don't take the time to, get to know the people on the ground and where you're saying like, no, like that wasn't me. I kind of did the opposite of that.
And I was genuinely honest with them. I don't know. I would go to Napa, our Napa dealer, and I would be like, I don't know what I'm looking for, but I know what here's a picture of the equipment, right? At the time it was 315. And I'm like, here's a picture. And I was just honest and curious, but also I love cooking. And so I brought them food and they were like, oh, hey, Missy's coming. What do you need? How can we help you? You brought us food. So I guess I should be honest in the fact that I used a little food bartering and I thought the way to a man is his belly, like maybe I'm a little old school in that way, but I use food as my tool to connect and to learn. So I have to throw that out there.
Yeah, food and cigarettes would go a long way out here.
Whatever you got to do.
That's really cool. I'm always curious to know, like, how's the dynamic work? Like my wife, she does some of our books and invoicing and stuff with us, and I've always wondered how do you find the dynamic of, and I have a hard time separating this, and she's gonna laugh when I say that, but work and then your personal. When you work with your significant other, talk about that relationship a bit because I know people can relate.
Yeah, so that doesn't exist, the separation. I don't
I'm glad you said that.
I think but you can learn to take cues from each other on when is a good time and when is not, because there are times at dinner where Trevor's had a heavy day and he just had a meeting and he needs to download and talk. I I definitely am not the type of person who's like, "It's dinner, we're not talking about work." It's our life. It's construction is a lifestyle and it integrates into every part of your life. And so I want to be respectful of like, hey, you need to talk now. Let's talk. Um, but I also take the cues where sometimes it's a heavy day. We don't want to talk about it. We want to talk about the kids and do something fun and absolutely not dive in to the construction world. And so I just think it's building a mutual respect for each other. It took me a long time to adjust that because I could talk about work all day, all night. I'm reading this book, I'm learning this thing, and he's just like, I need to shut down. And so it took a little bit of adjusting and just learning how to respect each other. But it's just like the important relationship is respect and listening to the cues and just saying, okay, now's not a good time. Okay, yes, now's a good time. Or asking each other, like, hey, I had a tough day. Is this a good time to connect about that? Our dynamic was pretty easy in the beginning. And then when we grew, it got really hard. I would say the middle of 8 years, the initial years of Trevor and I working together and being together, but also working the business together were easy because it's like, you go do that, I do this, you do everything on this side, I do everything on this side. Once we started growing and adding other people and layers, um, we started butting heads more because we both see two very different sides of what's needed to get done. Trevor is like a production king. I mean, he can go out in the field and produce, produce, produce. And I'm like a process, like systems. Did we get the tickets? Were they logged correctly? Is everyone collected busy, busy hours? I mean, just like obsessive over here. And we reached a peak where it was kind of like butting heads. And so then we had to sit down at the table and be like, your skills are necessary in the field. And I needed to hear from him in the field, Missy, your skills are necessary in the office and with HR and accounting. When we both deem each other necessary, we can like build this bridge and work together. And so now these last few years, we found another flow where it's going really well because we're building the respect between the field and the office. And I think I see in construction a lot of breakdown there and not a good understanding of everyone's roles and how they work together and how important they are. Like that metal moves without the bookkeeper, the accountant, the CFO, the controller, the payments, the fuel, the job costing. The metal won't move without all these moving parts. So how can we build the mutual respect between those two areas? So Trevor and I worked really hard to do that with each other. And then it's kind of started to grow within the company. An example of that is for our staff party. I told our office administrator, I was like, hey, I want to do a quiz or a game where people have to guess, like, how many estimates did Trevor do last year? How many phone calls did Pam take? How many transactions did Linda, our bookkeeper, enter? And then I wanted the reverse. I wanted the field to give me some fun questions of how many buckets of dirt did they move? How many feet of pipe did they lay? How many pilings were installed? So that we could all like see each other and be like, wow, if we're wowed by each other, we'll respect each other and give each other to have this like well-oiled machine that can sustain and continue to grow.
Yeah, that's it's key, and I like how you loop that around. I like the conversation of field and office because that's something, but that we talk about a lot here as well too. And um, kind of just going back real quick, I just want to touch on it because you said something like I feel like it was amazing what you just said because I was picking up some valuable stuff from it as well too. Every time you grow, I find that there's like a different hurdle. I feel like there's been so many times where we sit at a round table and we're like, all right, we got this figured out. And then 3 weeks later, it's like, "Oh, that new machine showed up, that we're starting up this new crew. Okay, we have nothing figured out anymore, and we're going back to the drawing board." And it's just like, we were saying, it's like chaos, right? And it's trying to get it to become organized chaos. So, although I am very happy, it sounds like you guys have a great groove. I'm trying to find that with my wife as well too, because I struggle with, um never shutting it off. And I liked what you said as well too about construction is like a lifestyle. My father-in-law, for instance, he's in private wealth management, and after 5 p.m., they lock out, his emails, and he can't access his emails after 5 p.m. at night.
Oh, nice.
Well, yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, in construction, there could be in the summertime, there could be guys still going at 7, 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. at night, and then add the layer of, again, social media on top of that as well too. It's kind of just all the time. But also in construction, where you're starting at 5 in the morning in the summertime as well too. Like, it's just insane. So you're right, and you nailed it with saying that it's a lifestyle because it's not a regular job.
Yeah, and you have to accept that, and then you accept the cues of when to take a break from the lifestyle of construction, and you accept that the awareness that this is an all the time thing. Um, I am trying to explore, or like in my mind, I'm exploring what does this look like for women and the societal expectation that they're typically the primary caretaker of the kids. How do we get more women when really the nature of this business is that it's a lifestyle, but they have a lot of other layers to manage. And to me, it almost seems impossible or unrealistic, but I know there's a solution there. And I'm just trying to start to work at it and figure it out with our own team. But yeah, construction is a lifestyle and it's an ebb and flow of accepting the ups and downs with it and then integrating your family, your staff, your people in a healthy way of saying, care about you as a person, but we also care about production and just like finding that good balance, you know?
Yeah, no, yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, these are all conversations that we have with our management, like, every single day, right? Like, in passing, I mean, that's why I love this conversation. I mean, it was in our wedding vows at our wedding about, like, my wife said something like, promise to love you even in the summertime when you're never
When you're
here."
not
And
around.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But I think also too, and maybe I'm not the best person to speak on that because I'm a guy, but what you said about, like, women in construction as well too, it is true though, like, if women are the primary caregiver of their kids and holding basically the family together and raising kids, like my wife, like, I couldn't do what she does, but then, like, how would she come in and do what I'm doing? All like, it is a tough one, like, that would be a struggle to try to understand, how does this work? How does this dynamic work? Have you figured out anything?
No, it's not a simple solution. I thought it was. And I used to be like, rah, rah, women in construction, like it tap into 50% of the workforce if our industry is going to sustain itself and grow. Now I am looking at it through a different lens and thinking, but how can this work when the expectation in our industry is 10-hour shifts? And then the societal expectation on not all women, but most women, or, there's a couple single dads that follow me and they're the primary caretaker for their kids and they want to grow in their career in construction. They can't because they have daycare, and that is kinda looked down upon in our industry. If you can't put in the blood, sweat, and tears of kinda 12 hours a day in the summertime, um, you're out. I brought up what I didn't realize was a controversial subject. We were in the Contractor of the Year program for Equipment World last year. We were one of the finalists, and we were in the room with 10 other contractors from around the country, and I just said, what about shifts? Do we need to start thinking about shifts, like 8-hour shifts? And you get the same opportunity to grow your career in construction. But we realize that there's representatives that want to be in our industry, but have to pick up kids or have basketball games and hockey. And we don't want you to just burn out and hate this industry. So I brought up and literally half the room was like, absolutely, that would never work. No, that's just, even there was a female in the room who was like, my guys wouldn't accept that. So what are you saying? Special treatment? I was like, special treatment for women or whoever has to take care of the kids, and then how do we manage that in HR and contracts? And I was just like, I'm just throwing a thought out there that the solution is not simple and our pedestal can't just be, we need more women in construction. We need to have conversations. We need more men in construction who are primary caretakers. We need more single dads in construction. But are they going to choose this industry um, where they won't have the lifestyle of seeing their children? I want my guys to go to the baseball game and the hockey games. I'm looking at a shift's perspective for them, like not just women, but it's a conversation we have to have. I was just really surprised at the resistance in the room of like, there's no way that can't happen. It's special treatment, this and that. And I'm like, okay, I just wanted to throw it out there that I barely survive this schedule. Like I'm up at 5, I'm dying at 9, like and I do all the pickup, household, all the things. So, and I'm lucky that I'm in the position to be an owner of a business. So I can kind of ebb and flow. But what does this look like for a laborer or a female operator who has kids? Like, how does this work? And I'm just finding determination that we at our company are going to make it work. We're going to find a way to build a model that supports, and it might take a couple years and a couple conversations with the union, and we're going to find a way to do it differently. That's our commitment as a company, is doing dirty jobs differently. And we're gonna find a way to try it and to see how it works, and then maybe that's a model, or if you know of companies out there that are exploring this, expectation. I just think I talked to Mary Catherine Harbert on last season of the podcast, and that was a really good interview. She built an all women's paving crew, and then she hit all these challenges. They had to leave at 3. They couldn't get in at 7. Like, the guys were like, WTF, you know? Um, and so it's like, oh, this is such a deeper conversation, and why is everyone shying away from it? And everyone's brave enough to say we need more women in construction. Just doesn't seem like they're brave enough to go deeper with the conversation, what that looks like, and also be thinking about men who might, in the next gen, might want a different lifestyle, who weren't raised that 10 to 12-hour sweaty brows is the norm, you know?
Yeah. No, I think you nailed it because it is a conversation and I like your approach at it where it's like, hey, like it's easy to go on and say like, oh, I'm an advocate for women in construction, but like how are we going to do this? Because like your household will fall apart if the woman is working 12 hours a day and not and then it picks up on then they're relying on the male and then he's also doing this as well too, or like you said, single dads, primary caregivers who are dads. I like your outlook on it because I've never heard that kind of outlook on that conversation, and I like it. It opens my eyes, and like it is, you're right, like it's such a tough conversation because how do you the thing with construction, especially in our climate in the wintertime, it's like, you're like, hopefully you got some money in the bank to make yourself through. So then when the weather's nice, it's like, okay, boys, 6 a.m. start, 6 p.m. end. And so like you're right. Like we need to figure out how we can get a better work and life balance in construction. But as a business owner, and as you know too, the guys need to be out there doing the jobs because if you're pricing something, like, the quicker you can get the job done or the more production or, like, so many things come into a factor that
It's a
it's
coalition
so
right now. It's just
exactly, it's I find it so easy, and again, and this is another conversation because I've talked to people. I like where you went with this because there's so many people are like, construction, like, we need to be better to our employees and let them get off earlier and let them come in later. And I'm all, hey, like, we treat our guys like they're all here for a reason, right? But at the end of the day, like, I need my guys working by 7 a.m. and in the summertime and at least work until 6 p.m.
or you won't win work. Like, you that's how you win work on the business development side, is making this promise to your customers of excellence, of execution, of production. And then if you're in a winter climate, your customers and government entities are expecting all in, balls to the walls all summer
Yeah.
long. But then funny enough, those same government entities, and this is what I'm pushing back at our civil rights offices, is like, your diversity goals are huge. Yet to meet that goal, your production schedule's expectation is 10 to 12 hours. So how do I get women to get out in a dozer? Because I know dozer operators that are women that have kids. How do I get them on the projects to meet your goals? Project's production schedule expects 12 hours and they have kids. Like, help me understand who is penciling this in their office as a standard and then saying it's an attainable goal. So yeah, it's just like I'm cautious to have these conversations. I'm easing into them because I certainly
Shouldn't be like that though. Like I like the conversation because it's good because I see it from both sides, right? Like I know like, as of recently, like my goal, like me and my wife, 3 weeks ago, she's like, hey, like it's wintertime. It'd be nice if you were home by at least 5:30 every night. Cause like I could stay here forever. So now I'm like, been trying to do that. But then the other side of me as a business owner is like, okay, well, how I'm telling my guys that we need to work longer hours to get more work done so that we can grow revenue more this year. But it's you can see it from both sides, and that's why I like the conversation because like I agree, but let's figure out how to do that because I'm just gonna get estimated out of the game if I tell everybody, hey, come my construction, we're doing 8 hours. And then the next company's still doing 12-hour days. Well, they're going to get the job done sooner than me. So then I can't even afford to do it for the cost that they're doing it at.
100% it conflicts with your business development and growth goals. So that's same, and I am over business development within our company. And so I feel this collision of goals, and And it's like, I'm so determined over the next 3 to 5 years through trial and error to try to find something that works. And I know there's companies out there who are feeling the same collision, who are going to figure it out and making the dirt world a better place as us going and trying with these smaller to mid-sized companies and saying, what can we do? And then becoming a model of core values and compliance on all sides.
Yeah, no, you're right, 100%. Can you believe it? ConExpo ConAg is almost here. That's right, the largest construction family reunion in North America is going to be here before we know it. See and test the new equipment, ask the technical experts, find out what your business will be using tomorrow. Make the connections that matter. If you haven't registered yet, there's still time to secure tickets. Visit conexpoconag.com and use the promo code podcast20 to get 20% off. That's right, 20% off with the promo code podcast20. If you already have your tickets to the show, join us in the countdown and comment below to let us know that you are going, and we'll be there, and we are excited to see you. When you talk about business development and like kind of you were saying previous about your role in the business and everything, what's your day to day look like? I guess like I know it's in construction and it's every day's different, but if you could kind of like dial in on like this is what I do.
That's a tough one. I fulfill a role of president for the company. Uh, and it's my days are pretty standard to the layers of what that role means. So obviously vision and strategy, researching the markets, where are we headed? You know, um, what's our game plan? I don't look very much day to day at today and this week. I'm thinking about 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 2 years. Like that's kind of what I'm thinking about day to day and making decisions today that impact our tomorrow.
So you're outward facing.
Yeah, very much so. And then we have such a talented team, Trevor, our superintendent, who are thinking about execution of today, tomorrow, the pipeline, and fulfill, kind of what's in our schedule. Business development is pretty much integrated into every single day. Uh, Building relationships with customers, getting back to them, what's in your pipeline, how did that bid look? Do we need to be more competitive on these numbers? So BD is that business development is a lifestyle for a construction company. It never stops. Machines might be out moving, but that doesn't mean they'll be moving in 3 months. And so someone has to be thinking about that so that our guys have a true career here. So business development's a big role. Now with us tripling in size, HR, insurance, compliance, contracts, that I'm looking at something connected to that every day, whether it's onboarding, hiring, firing, uh, professional development of our team. HR was kind of the unknown. You talked about ceilings that you hit as you grow. And I feel that every 30% you grow, you hit a new ceiling of lessons that you're going to have to learn. Things are going to have to change. This no longer serves us anymore. Um, and I think for us last year, um, HR was the big thing that revealed itself like, holy crap, we now need an HR department and an HR process and procedures and um, an official way to onboard and if necessary, fire and all the things. So HR, insurance, our insurance premiums grew, our needs for bonding grew. So like all the boring stuff, I feel like this year I'm getting kind of sucked into.
It's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot. And then also like workflow for me, like leaning into softwares that will make our project management smoother as a company. We now have hired amazing talent to take on a lot of the roles. So now we're managing them and trying to give them the resources they need to have good workflow that support the company. And so I've been focused this year on innovation and software, not technology in the machines. We're good there. Technology in the office that connects everyone and keeps them communicative and job costs and all the things. So day to day basis, I'm touching one of those. Maybe a friendly call from one of my operators. How's your day going? Um, and then the roll off company, we have a dumpster company over on the side that our office administrator Pam is amazing at helping execute run on a daily basis. So that typically answering a question too. She's in the school of hard knocks right now of running a roll off company, which is really fun to watch her shine. So my day to day right now is business development, HR, insurance, overseeing account, uh, people development, and all the things, building a peak performing team, keeping my sanity, eating, taking care of children, household, loving my husband, and saving her at the end of the day.
Those are some of the biggest ones that you said at the end. I mean, yeah, yeah, that's just it, and that's just being an owner of a business, what you just described. Asking someone, like, I hate like, I actually despise, and you're welcome for doing that to you, but I despise when people, like, put me on the spot and always ask me, like, "Well, what do you do?" And it's like, "Well, I mean, like, what don't I do?" Like, Okay, well, yesterday I did this, okay, then now today I'm doing this, and then I also have to take care of this," and there's just so many different aspects to it, and like what you just said, like, you're covering everything. There's not It's not like you're just like, "Oh, I work at company A and I am HR and that's all I do." It's like, "Well, I'm HR as well as this and this and this and this and this." And it's a lot, and it definitely takes, the right person to kind of do all that stuff.
And it does, the right person to care. But what I appreciate about the question that you asked is that I've been asked that question before, um, on a podcast several years ago, and it was, "So everyone wants to know, Missy, what do you actually do?" And I found that framework very insulting. Like, what do you mean, what do I actually do? I do what every other owner, president, you know, does. You frame that question in such a respectful way of like, what does your day to day look like? And gave me the level playing field of you're an owner, I'm an owner. And I super appreciate the way you framed that. It gives us space to like build respect and have great conversations. So, what do you think um, is the best advice for owners that are doing what you and I just described? We kind of have to do it all, keep our sanity, stay sane and straight and level. Um, and I'm trying to just learn like, how do you keep it all together?
One big thing for me, and again, then this is cutting out time of the day, but is like to find that one thing that is kind of a de-stressor and I don't know, maybe it sounds like such a classic millennial answer or something like that, but I'm lucky. No, but I'm serious. Like you're right, 100%. And it's just the stress and the overwhelmingness of getting everything done, and your calendar's always jammed, and you have this, and this person texted me, and it's been 3 days, and I forgot that I didn't respond back to them, and I have this email, I didn't read the email, and then now I got to go.
Not the
Like,
only one.
no, but I'm serious. Like, I get it. I know exactly. Like, yeah, like we both can relate. And so for me, it's actually just finding like that 1 hour of the day where, like, one big thing with our new office is like I put a treadmill in a room, and I get on it, and I don't care to have the six pack or rip biceps or look like I do roids. I'm just doing it for my sanity. So for me, telling somebody that does what we do, be like, "Dude, find something." I don't care. Maybe it's pottery, maybe it's art, maybe it's, I don't know, reading a book for an hour. Just like normally in the afternoon at like 2 to 3, I just need something to just do it. And I'm not shutting down when I'm doing it. I'm thinking about work. I'm thinking about that situation that happened at lunch with between those 2 guys because he said that to him, and okay. What's the best way that I'm gonna go about this? And for me, it's finding that. So for me, that's the best advice that I would say to somebody is like, again, take time out of your busy schedule, which they're gonna be like, "I don't have time to do that." Make the time to do it.
Make the time. So what you're saying is the treadmill that we have in the basement that I haven't been on in months, I should, you know, hey, it's there. Trevor's like, yo,
Maybe it's not exercise though. Maybe it's something else.
I love that. It's such good advice. And it's not hard to do. We make it hard to do because it's not our human nature. But you're absolutely right. It's not hard to know what do I like, what gets me a little zen, a little like take a deep breath. And it's 30 minutes a day.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's be human here. Like for me, I'm trying to start to step away. And I've started this women in construction, probably men in construction too, wall of fame on my
I
wall.
saw that on Instagram.
Yeah. And it's like, I thinking about my why and just like pausing the day and sitting back and being like, why are you doing this? Who are you doing this for? Like, you're doing this for your family, you're doing this for your staff's family. These women did it, these men, and it worked and it built this life for so many people. So I'm kind of trying to get obsessed with my why, but I think what you just nailed it. It's like, is it really that hard to take 20 to 30 minutes on a job site or in the office to step away and just do something that brings you that pause that's healthy? We all have to be human here. Like we have to push to be people in this industry because that's going to attract more talent when they see not burnout, when they see us happy and right and loving the show of what we do every day.
And being an owner, like, obviously, that's not feasible for, a guy that runs an excavator. Like, that conversation just isn't directed them, but directing it to business owners, I know every business owner can at least find 20 to 30 minutes a day that they can cut out of their own schedule and do something where they can think a bit. And that's all I'm saying is just find something that makes you think or zen or relax. And yeah, I mean, like, some of my best ideas and thoughts come from when I'm running, like whether it be for content, whether it be in my personal life. Like, okay, I reflect on like how have I been as a father? Okay, I could work on this or that. Like I have a lot of conversations with myself. Don't be afraid to talk to yourself. I think that's one too. I talk to myself all the time. And I mean, I don't think people should stay away from that.
Yeah, I'm gonna start talking to myself, and I'll blame you for that.
Not out loud though. I mean, like it's in my own head.
Keep it quiet in your head.
Yeah. No, so, yeah, that's those are all very good points. Um, as far as when I first saw you 3 years ago, and I was introduced to Missy Scherber, it was through Instagram, and I wanted to actually just ask you, like, what was the reasoning behind starting Instagram? Was it business? Was it personal? And then how did you kind of like shape yourself into this public figure within construction and being a business owner?
Yeah, so the original intention with was marketing our business and telling the story of what I was watching unfold before my eyes was, wow, I used to go to model homes and be like, wow, this is a beautiful house and celebrate the builder, the general contractor, the interior designer. No one's showing all the steps that lead to this beautiful moment, right? Like you typically don't see the excavator at the ribbon cutting. And so I was like, I just want to share our story and I want to highlight the work that it takes to build our world. And it was strictly from a marketing perspective and also a competitive advantage. I was shocked when I came into this industry and just saw that like none of my competitors had great websites, um, posting on social media regularly, their work, no photography, no brush. Like, and I came from that world where the creative visual mattered to the point of sale. And so I just thought, well, let's have a competitive advantage and show the amazing work we're doing. And it really took off. And we were one of the only excavators in the area who were active on social. Now all my competitors are, and I love it.
That's sweet. That's a good feeling.
I'll leave a comment on them like, "Yes, like, nice new website," and they're like, "Thanks for help making us up our game," like, so it started there. Um, Caterpillar reached out in 2018. At the time, we had just had a couple Cat machines. Now we're switching to all Komatsu. Um, Both are great, great.
Shadow Komatsu.
I know, a big shout out for them because we absolutely are just really happy with, our fleet from them. Um, they reached out and on International Women's Day in 2018 and just said, "Hey, can we notice you? There's not a lot of women in earthmoving. Can we tell your story and give you a shout out?" And I was like, "That's great." And through that, I'm like, you know what? I wonder if I just start sharing my story a little bit. And I did on Instagram and it took off. Unexpectedly, I really didn't expect. I wasn't here looking for building a personal brand or anything like that. I just wanted to share our story and show through visualization that women are in this industry because I felt very alone, and wondered, are there other females that feel me out there? Um, Through that, Women in Construction Wednesday, I noticed this WCW trend in 2018 was Press Wednesday. And so I like got online and was like, we're gonna change WCW and it's gonna be Women in Construction Wednesday. If you're women in construction, like give a shout out, show me your selfie. I'm gonna share it. That just like, holy crap, like I feel like I blinked and within a year just had this amazing community of construction men and women who were like, "This is awesome. Let's do this. Keep sharing." Um, to be honest with you, I was actually going to get off Instagram the last 6 to 12 months. I know your face looks very surprised.
Yeah, please tell.
Put a lot of attention there and things were growing and probably was getting a little distracted with engagement and giving the community what they need and wanted. And kind of a people pleaser and a people person. So I'm like answering all the questions and doing all the things. Um, my husband Trevor was like, "Where are you? We got a company over here to," and that doesn't put bread on the table. Like, I understand it and I love your passion for it, but you're in the early stages of a business and we need you present. Um, that combined with I was kind of really publicly, I don't know if you say annihilated or bullied or something, but had someone really question me online. Um, and like my heart starts beating fast when I talk about it because I never really talked about her. And basically, question is Missy Scherber really a woman in construction because she can't run an equipment? She can't, she's got all these pictures with machines that I own and pay for, but because I can run them, I can't operate them. Um, it just really questioned. And so unfortunately, now I look back and I'm like, now if someone said that to me, I'd be like, like I'd laugh. But at the time, it totally debacled me. It made me like really insecure and which was my own choice. That wasn't the person that called me out online. It was me. It was me not understanding and knowing and be confident in who I was and what I was doing in construction. And so watching that happen and affect my confidence when meanwhile it's like I need to run a business and run a household, love my kids and my husband and love our crew. Like screw this shit. Like I'm not coming out here. If you guys, I'm here to just share and empower and support. And it's funny how that one or two people, the one or two haters, like felt so big in my world. Yet meanwhile, there's all these people who are like inspired or feel heard. So I really let that take me down a dark path and got to the point last year. And my best friends could tell you this, where I was like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done sharing our story. I'm done sharing my story. Like I am not, I'm out. Um, and then what happened last fall, I was literally like, gave myself a deadline, but the ConExpo started reaching out and I was just like, no, probably not. And then, things. So, um, last year, I had kind of told Trevor and one of my closest friends, like, this is killing my confidence. And what was killing my confidence was caring about what the other people said. It's not what the other people said, it was my care for it. Uh, we had a wildly talented operator walk in our office and say, I've been following you on Instagram for a year and I want to come work for you. And I have an entire crew. The company we all work for just got bought out. The leadership doesn't care about its people. And we all follow you on Instagram and we know that you care about your people and we all want to come work for you.
That's reason right there.
Pepper's looking at me like, oh, maybe you should stay on Instagram.
Yeah, I would say.
And that happened, and it started to help me see the positives of it helped open my eyes to the good things that I was doing online and that it was making an impact and that it made an impact on our company and on other owners and how they were doing their business and treating their people and other women who like need to see themselves leading and loving what they do in this industry. And so I'm so thankful that happened because it kind of brought my confidence back and made me realize like you're always going to have people that like you and people that don't. And people who make fun of you and ridicule you and people who love what you're doing. And it's like if it's just a few that love, that's what matters. And so yeah, then I was like, all right, I'm here to stay. And now that Trevor is really happy. I mean, he was in an interview yesterday and the guy was like, "Oh, yeah, I follow your wife on Instagram." And I'm just like, "Holy cow, for the recruitment of amazing workforce. I never thought that would serve us. That wasn't why we were doing it. We were just being genuine and telling our story. And so Trevor's kind of eating his words now and all the time I spent on Instagram. So hopefully now he's like, hey, just hang out on Instagram all day. It's getting us all our good people. And, but so that's the story of social media for me. I did it for a company. And then I tried to build something that built awareness for the heroes that work for us, including women. Then I was dethroned, I guess, by my own choice, by caring about what other people thought on if I really was a woman in construction. And then I found my confidence again last summer in just being who I am and giving myself permission to be who I am and wear pink and be a girly girl and still be in our industry and love my guys and not care about what others think. And then I saw the fruits of my labor online really pay off from a recruitment and workforce perspective. And for telling our story, like I go into general contractors now, they know who we are, they know what we do, and they're excited to work with us before I've even done our presentation on like, here's who T Sherber is, here's how we're different. And so I just think social media is a powerful tool if you could harness it for good. And if you're truly self aware of like, there's going to be negativity, there's going to be haters, but there's going to be so much good, um, especially for the future of our industry.
Yeah, 100%. And that's an incredible story that you just said because first of all, yeah, I mean, first of all, you don't have to. It sucks, but it's crazy because you let and I'm a victim of this too, is we let like you said, those one or two people that say this stuff to us affect us when there's hundreds of other people who are saying positive stuff about you, and sometimes you just don't take the time to even respond to them. And because there's a lot of it, or you just blow by, it's like, okay, great. But when you see that hate, and it really sucks. And second of all, it's like shouldn't have to explain to anybody or feel like you have to explain to anybody whether or not you know how to run an excavator because you're a woman, or you wear work boots every day because you're a woman. Um, like that's just so stupid. Who cares? That's like, I can't even relate it to anything because I'm not a woman or anything like that. But I get the hate too, being, third generation, and, having my dad. And my dad got the exact same thing. My dad always talks to me because he always sees the comments. He's like, people are saying your daddy's money. He's like, they have no idea. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's fine. And he got it as well too. And then I get it as well too. And it's just getting in that mindset of like, who cares? It doesn't matter what these people are saying. But I like the positive spin that you put on it, as far as like, I gained my confidence back, and this larger thing came from this, and this is the actual positive spin of social media, and this is why I do it. So that's very impressive, and I think that it's really important for people to listen to that. And there's a lot of lessons to be learned, life lessons to be learned from that story.
Yes, because we need more people that are on Instagram that I see on my stories and you see them on your stories. We need more of them telling their story. They're just watching all of us and they're not sharing yet. And we need them to share their story. We need their friends and family to see this industry and the power in it and the magic and the amazing life it can bring us. And so that means we all need to be bold and brave together to tell our stories online. And I waged war with it because it does open you up to maybe some negativity or someone making fun of you or you did do that bucket right or this safety vest. And it's just like, who freaking cares? We're building the world around us and doing it with the sweat of our brows and amazing talent in the office and in the field. I almost want to say F that, but I'm not going to screw that. I'll let you say it. Screw that. And so, yeah, I think let's start a movement on social where we're asking our followers, share your stories too. Don't just watch us. What are you doing that's making an impact? And how many people would you bring into our industry just by sharing your story? We're visual by nature. Be proud of what you do, whether you have a hater or two or not. Be proud of what you do. Share it online. I mean, people need to know like the force of earth movers and waste management and all the infrastructure and things that make their world go round. Maybe more of them would join us if they knew more about it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that, and I think that it's important to get the message out there, and to also, as people who are, people are watching us in the industry, people like us. make sure that we're cognitive of watching other people as well too, and we're constantly learning and evolving. But I'm also really excited because we're going to be able to get to talk about stuff like this at this year's Con Expo. I mean, you and Jimmy Starbuck and Katie Crane and Matt Stanley. That yeah, I just call him American Pavement, but he's Matt Stanley. We're gonna be on an influencer panel, um, kind of talk about social media and the industry, and, I'm really excited to kind of, like, carry on, like, even, like, that conversation that we just had, like, right there, like, as far like, I mean, people listening, like, we're preparing this, behind the scenes as a team, and, like, us just having this conversation right now, Misty, it's like, okay, like, that's a great conversation to actually have as well too, because there's a lot of, like, talking points and lessons in that.
Yeah, the listeners need to know that, if you're going to ConExpo, that influencer panel is gonna be amazingly important for where we are now as an industry, where we're headed, and they're important part of sharing their story and branding themselves and being an influencer, whether it's within their company or online or offline. We're all influencers to grow and build a better industry. And so the influencer panel is going to be awesome. We have been behind the scenes. It's going to be epic. So I hope everyone is able to make it to that um, speaking that session. It's just going to be powerful. And they extended it for us. They gave us 2 hours, so we get to hang out afterwards. I think we got to rally some sponsors and get some giveaways and give the people some beer and snacks or something.
I agree. Yeah, that's what I said. They're like, I think Matt or Jimmy were saying, "Well, it's 9 a.m." and I'm like, "I'll be cracking a cold one. I'll be there. We'll be there."
We're not on a job site, so let's make it. I'm so excited for the show. I'm so excited to see everyone. Obviously, Trevor is edge of his seat to go look at the equipment and go to the Komatsu booth. I spent quite a bit of time there. Bobcat, Wacker Nissan. There's a lot of brands. He's excited to go see what's coming for them. I'm excited to see the people.
I'm the same.
It's a family reunion. We are a family, and it's the time to just see each other, pause, reflect, have fun, grab a beer, and have some good conversations that make our industry better.
Well, I would love to continue on this
We
conversation
will.
at our panel and just continuing at Con Expo. I mean, like you're going to be there and I'll be there and everybody kind of that's been on the podcast, and that's why I like the lead up with the podcast. It's kind of like a continuation of our conversations at the actual show. So, like, appreciate your time coming on today, and I know that this is a high value episode, and I felt like I even pulled a lot.
Good.
From what you said, and I actually learned a lot about who you are and what you do, and I gotta say, like, I have a high respect for what you do day in and day out. I wanna make sure that you know that.
Thank you. Everyone in this industry deserves respect for all the different parts and pieces and places. And I'm excited to watch you grow this podcast and take it a different direction. And when you sent me the questions, I was like, oh, seems a little dry and boring. And then you took it right in just a deep.
That's why I don't even know if I touched on I have the thing beside me open.
I don't think you asked one question, and I'm proud of you for that because you really, it just shows that your interest in innovation and taking our industry to a new place. It's been in a great place, but there's some places for us to go. And I just love how human you made this conversation, and how comfortable I felt sharing things I haven't shared before. And hope that inspires others and you inspire others.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Those are all insanely nice words, and now my head's gonna blow up because my ego. But that has been the Con Expo Con Egg podcast. Thank you, Missy, for coming. And obviously, this episode is brought to you by our amazing friends over at Komatsu. Thank you very much for listening. Can you believe it? Con Expo Con Ag is almost here. That's right, the largest construction family reunion in North America is going to be here before we know it. See and test the new equipment, ask the technical experts, find out what your business will be using tomorrow. Make the connections that matter. If you haven't registered yet, there's still time to secure tickets. Visit conexpoconag.com and use the promo code podcast20 to get 20% off. That's right, 20% off with the promo code podcast20. If you already have your tickets to the show, join us in the countdown and comment below to let us know that you are going, and we'll be there, and we are excited to see you.